Green Cooling scores with the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show.
Yes, welcome to another episode of 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, your go-to podcast for everything Community Rugby League. I'm Steve Beech, and alongside me my co-host Dave Parkinson. Dave, how's it going, mate?
I'm great, to be honest, Steve. Where have you got that from? The go-to podcast for all things Community Rugby League. I tell you what, we're having that.
I like that
We'll
one.
repeat that one again, to be honest, mate. We've got loads and loads of things to talk about this week. We've got match highlights, exclusive interviews, and a full breakdown of the NCL action. I don't think we ever produced a fuller breakdown. You actually sent me a message, didn't you, when we were putting this together, and you said, I don't think there was as many words in J.K. Rowling's.
That's right, it's in the first Harry Potter book, I tell you. Anyway, let's get started with our feature game. Wigan St Patricks took on Woolston Rovers and put in a dominant performance, and this is how it unfolded.
Brad Smith, he's going to tap this one. Clever hooker. Pops the ball up and then it's dropped back, and it's a massive run coming in from Campbell Fisher. He's put down right near the try line. St Pat's on the fly down this left hand side now. Taylor turning it back into the middle. Real chance. Has he got it down? Referee awards the try. It's Ben Harper, one of his first carries, and he's gone over the line just a couple of minutes into the game.
Actually 3 minutes 30, Parker.
Wow. Down the right hand side it goes through hands. Ellis onto the full back. Rowcroft putting it out, and they've gone over at the corner, Steve. It's that right winger. Is it Jack Sproat?
It certainly is.
Short ball for Ryding in a hole. Ryding taking them all on and going over the line. Well, he's been dynamic in this first half. A superb performance from him. Ball put down that right side. There's Durvan. He has looked deadly. Gets it out to Sproat down the right side. Turns it back in field. Smith follows up. Nobody's going to stop Brad Smith. That is entertaining rugby. That is a brilliant try. Oh, great.
Oh, good tackle.
Big defence there, Harry Files. Can they get over? Comes to this right hand side with Kelly burns off the defence. Yep. Well, that was real half-back pace from Kelly. They were just 10 metres away from the line, but as soon as he hit the ball on the angle, he was clean through, wasn't he? No one was stopping him. Brad Smith has Ellis out to the right. He's got Taylor out to the left. Taylor takes them on. Oh, he scored 20 odd tries last season, did Taylor?
This ball going to come out to this right hand side. Oh, is that Ryding again in for his second try? I think it could well be.
Certainly is. Great run from Ryding, right out to dummy half, and they teased their way forward, did Wigan St Pat's, before getting over the line. Ryding just spotting there was a little bit of a shortage of defenders in front of him, and getting it down. Good carry from Nash, scatters them as well, plays the ball to Tarpe, long ball from him, Brown's put it down. Wigan St Pat's are playing on. It's bounced up for Connor Taylor. Connor Taylor's down the ground, over the 50, over the 40, over the 30,
he's
over
under
the 20.
Dots.
He's under the post. A breakaway score for Connor Taylor. They just couldn't deaden the ball there, Woolston, and Connor Taylor was on it like a flash. Can they get over for a second try? Kelly comes down the right. He's pass invitingly going for Dan Fernley. Fernley plays it out on the right hand side. Kelly, can he go in for a second?
Yes, referee says he's gone in
from halfway line, and that will be the final carry of the game. The final whistle sounds. It finishes a handsome victory for Wigan St Pat's by 36 points to 10.
Green Cooling keeps the 13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show cool, even when tackles get heated.
Got to say, Steve, it was a massive win that for Wigan St Pat's. I was really impressed with them, actually.
Yeah, it was. They came out of the blocks. They were absolutely unbelievable. The yards they were making so easy as well. And it wasn't just sort of, let's give it to the forwards and drive up. It was sort of like a couple of drives and the next bang, bang, bang. It was going from the left wing over to the right. And I mean, really at pace. Got some really good youngsters there as well.
Yeah, and afterwards we caught up with the St Pat's skipper Danny Ryding after the game. OK, I'm really pleased to be joined by Danny Ryding, skipper of Wigan St Pat's. You've got to be pretty pleased after that, haven't you?
Yeah, delighted with that, I think. all the lads really bought into what we spoke about before the game. Big driver for us was intensity and making this somewhere that teams don't want to play. I think we showed that in the first 30 minutes. We dropped off a little bit before half time, but then came out with the same intensity in the second half and made up. To say we've not had a warm-up game, I think we proved a few people wrong.
What can you put that down to? You know, that lack of intensity, like you mentioned. You know, is that purely down to not having a warm-up game before?
I think, yeah. Obviously, we started really well. We absolutely probably blew them off the field for the first 25-30 minutes, and then just concentration is a big one. I think we just spoke about it there. It sheds sort of dropped off. I think we'll fix that up with a bit more intensity in training as well, and we'll move on.
I know for yourself it's not all about scoring tries, but I'm going to ask you about them both anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so the first one you hit a line and just carried over, didn't you? Little inside ball off Connor.
I think me and Connor, obviously, we've played together for a good few years. We read each other very well. He knows the line I'm running, and more often than not it sticks. And when it sticks, obviously, I'm more often than not find my way on line.
And then your second try?
Second try is a bit of a running joke with a lot of people who've been around first team. If I'm near line and there's 2 yards out, it's my ball and no one else is taking it off me.
Yeah, I mean, you did. It was almost like you were saying, "No, I'm having this one.
Yeah.
This is mine." There's a bit of a gap there that I can get over.
It's a running joke that I only score from Uka, to be honest. I think within 2 yards on line, because when I'm in that position, I just want the ball.
It looked like with the combinations as well. I mean, you got Reece coming into the side for the first time. New halfback combination with Connor, which looked like it went well. And also as well, I was just having a quick chat with Adam. I mean, it being his first game in 5 years. I mean, that's just what you've got building down here now, isn't it?
Yes, I think, like you said, we've had a few new additions in the off season, and it's probably the best position we've been in as a club for probably a couple of years. We've actually had to obviously drop a few people today, which has been a bit of a rarity in the last few years, but I think they really settled in well. They bought into what we want, and like I say, I think it showed there. I think first game, not actually played a competitive game as a team. I think we'll only get better.
I think it's a strong performance, that. And to be fair as well, I mean, like, I don't know what you've had beforehand, but you were hitting them from all angles.
Yeah, I think big one for me is, as captain, is I pride the team and myself on intensity. Yeah. Big part of my game is defence, and we spoke about it before the game, is that's what we want to bring. We want to bring intensity. We want to make this a place people don't like coming, and I think we showed that today.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.
Got to say there, Steve, I mean, it was really good hearing from Danny there, and just to put a little bit of maybe icing on the cake there, because I noticed in my interview I just mentioned players' first names, and I'm quite aware other people might, unless they're involved at Pats and they've seen the game themselves, they might not be sure who I'm talking about. So the Adam that I mentioned was Adam O'Neill. We had a dead quick word with him, didn't we? And it was his first game back in 5 years.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, how great is that? So that, you know, he's able to step back off the from not being involved to being fully involved in that last 20 minutes. I thought he chucked himself about. Then also, they had new halfback pairing. Ellis was in there, and he had a great game as well, linking with Connor Taylor, who's been there for some time now. But Reece Rowcroft at fullback, he looks something a bit special.
He does, yeah.
And interestingly enough, when we were chatting to Martin Ellis and we were asking him about where's he come from, what's he done, he's been in the Wigan scholarship and then academy system, and he's never played at fullback before. He's played at hooker.
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, he was saying that. But you look at him and the pace he had and the way he joined into that line, he's always been played that position majority of his career. I've got to say, he was absolutely superb. But I know he was feeling, if he passed us, didn't he, as he was coming out of the changing rooms. And he said, "Oh, I'm into rugby." And you could see it had, took its toll to a certain extent.
You could see a couple of bruises already starting to form on him, couldn't you? You know, but great performance.
Yeah, and the other thing with Danny's interview, the way he ended it on about his tackling, the first tackle that he put in, it was within the first, I think it was about 3 minutes or something like that, and it was an absolute bell ringer. It was textbook. He followed it up with a couple of other similar ones as well within the space of the next few minutes. And like he said, he set a tone there, not just from a defensive point of view, but obviously then set them on the front foot, and they played some really, really smart rugby.
What did you make of Woolston's performance then, Steve? Because I know I'm quite conscious that we've really just spoken about the St Pats, A, because they were so dominant, and B, because some of the youngsters really impressed. But from a Woolston point of view, they seem to be missing a few players.
Yeah, for me, they were a bit off pace. But there again, looking back at Woolston over the last couple of seasons, they've been like that to a certain degree, and sort of what they've usually been able to do is pick it up in the second half and sort of put the foot on the gas and win games that way. Because I've seen them a couple of times at all, where you thought they've blown this, they've got no chance. Second half to come out, it's like a different team coming out in the second half.
It was a better second half.
It was
24-6 at half time.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the final score was 36-10. So, much more closer second half, but obviously the damage done in that first period.
And obviously going away to Pats, whether they underestimated them, knowing how Pats have been over the last couple of years, I don't know. As we say, it's very, very early days, and I'm sure they'll get back on the horse, as it were. I know during commentary we'd been, and certainly beforehand, we'd been talking to the coaches, etc., and they'd been mentioning that certainly the Pats team had gone to Benidorm for the Cheltenham Festival. I was thinking, how does that work? But funnily enough, I've been discussing this with some colleagues actually, and they reckon it's actually cheaper to go to Benidorm and go on holiday and have a few beers there than to actually go to Cheltenham, because the cost of sort of lodgings, the beers, getting into place and everything. And you're thinking, well, they're probably right, because if I'm not wrong, I'm sure he said it was snowing the beginning of the festival. But it's all interesting, I must admit.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
But speaking of interviews, before the game, we actually managed to catch up with Ryan Baxter, the coach of Wigan St Patricks, after the game, and this is what he had to say to Parky.
OK, well, alongside Ryan Baxter. Ryan, you must be pretty pleased after that first win of the season, 36 points to 10. Pretty commanded all over, really.
Yeah, it's all about the 2 points, isn't it? And obviously, like we said before the game, there's a lot of new players who came, and I thought it was really impressive. Reece Rawcroft at the back, really pleased with him.
He offers you a different dimension to maybe what you haven't had probably for a couple of years on a regular basis.
Yeah, and he trains every week, and he's just going to add a bit of value to our team, I think. And then I thought Ben Harper was really good at 13 in his first stint. He said it was a lot faster, but he enjoyed it, and he went really well. He's really tough.
Because, of course, he's one of those players that stepped up from North West Men's League, isn't he?
He absolutely is, yeah, but I think he did a really good job. And I thought Matty Ellis did really well at 7, new combination with Connor. Scored some good tries in the first half, and then we got a little bit sloppy in the second half, but all around really happy.
What I do want to take from that, though, is like you've got Danny Ryding as your skipper this year. He pops up with 2 tries, but more importantly, it was probably the work that he did in defence. Because I think he crumpled at least 2 of the forwards, and they didn't really come back anywhere near him. Did they?
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the most pleasing aspect of the game today. First half defence, I'd say. And we had the opportunity to bring on 2 middles to give Campbell and Dean 2 prop forwards who played 80 minutes all last year, every game. They had the opportunity to have a bit of a break today, and when we added Cliff, I thought was amazing off the back. Anthony Hutton, call him Cliff, and then Ryan Braddock as well. Just give us a chance to rotate the middles, and that was really, really important for us.
I mean, Hutton again, it was the defensive work. I mean, he was all over, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. I think he made something like 4 or 5 of the first set tackles when he came on. He was really impressive, and he hits to hurt as well, so it was really good.
And I know Danny was saying, and obviously that was your first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, we was
that
unfortunate.
Must be what you must be even more pleased about, to be fair. Because usually you'd want a hit out, wouldn't you? Before
absolutely, and we did try. We've entered the National Cup this year for the first time in a long time,
and you got a bye.
And we got a bye, so that didn't go down well. So we was trying to scramble around for a fixture, but like I said before the interview, before the beginning of the season, training against the under-18s has kind of made that a bit easier, not having a game, but we've been training, going 13 on 13 against them, so it's helped us. And
having a chat with the Woolston coach, Liam, he says, you've got a young, fresher approach this season, so it's nice when you hear opposing coaches say stuff like that, which is really positive.
It absolutely is, and there's a couple of people who are fortunate not get into there, who's playing at the moment now. Isaac Wheatley is a new addition. Jonah could have got in. Robert, there's a few players who could have got into there, but they're getting opportunities to play now because we've got a second team game on, so no doubt they'll be playing at some point through the season. But there's a young blood coming through, which is something we've not had for about 5 years or so really happy. And
I'm quite pleased, because usually when I've been here in the past, it's been the opposition that I've gone away with the points, so I was surprised that I got let in so easy.
Well, you're the jinx.
And that I can actually walk away and there's a win. Right,
you're welcome back now.
I've got that with a couple of clubs, to be fair. But no, it was a really good performance, and certainly one that you can really build upon, I think, moving forward.
Got a week off now, and then we're home again, which is always good. Try to get, I think, Oldham St Anne's and try to get 4 points on the board, hopefully, and then we'll take it from there.
See, that's going to be interesting as well, isn't it? Because Oldham St Anne's, they've got promoted from the division below, and like you can get on, you can really get on the front foot, can't you? And promoted teams tend to do quite well in the following season, don't they?
Yeah, well, they've gone through a winning streak, haven't they, the season before? So confidence will be high. They might have added a few additions to the team as well. So we expect a tough game against Oldham St Anne's as well.
Ryan, thank you for joining me, and best of luck over the next couple of weeks, and no doubt I'll catch up with you soon, mate.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show, discussing the greatest game at all grassroots levels.
Got to say, Parky, a big thanks to both to Liam Lawton and to Ryan there, because they were both very sort of forthcoming, wasn't they, with regards to interviews and sort of access to them, and which is great. I mean, that's what we're all about, and it's refreshing when those guys are coming to us to a certain degree.
And to be fair, Liam did come to us after the game, didn't he? We were having a bit of a chat with him, but I thought with some of what he was saying, and I could sense the frustration there, I thought it would be unfair possibly to maybe interview him at that particular point in time, and no doubt I'll catch up with him in a few weeks to sort of see how they've been getting on since. But
because I did say to him, obviously we were going to be down at Woolston some time further on in the season. The good thing is now we know that we don't bite, as it were, that we can get regular interviews with the likes of himself and obviously Ryan and Danny and all those who we managed to interview. One thing we did miss, by the way, Parker, because for anybody who was actually may have caught the game, which we now uploaded onto YouTube, we've got the VO footage and our commentary. And if you listen to it, you might hear this.
But he was in and out and twisting and shaking it all about.
Yes, Parky doing the okey-cokey. What was that all about?
I can't remember that bit of the commentary. I do remember saying in and out, shake it all about. Was it a Connor Taylor run?
I think,
or was it a Reece Rowcroft run?
No, I think it was a Connor Taylor one.
Was it a Connor Taylor run? There was one in particular where he seemed to take on about 6 players, and he was weaving and he was going in and out of the challenges.
In fact, he was going.
But he was in and out and twisting and shaking it all about. I hope you're going to keep these for later on in the season.
No problem.
Are we going to have like a list of Parkyisms as we get closer to the end of the season? We could end up just having an hour worth of Parkyisms. Never mind any of the roundup of the Rugby League.
Anyway, we digress.
We do.
What have we got next, Parky?
So what I want to go through is the roundup of what actually happened over the course of last weekend. We're going to start in the Premier Division, and it was Hunslet ARLFC 18, West Bowling 26. West Bowling pulled off a statement win at reigning champions Hunslet, continuing their strong start to the season. Hunslet had to fight back from an early 10-0 deficit, with Luke Medley's converted try followed by touchdowns from Liam Thompson and Cam Phillips, putting them ahead by 18 points to 10 early in the second half. But the turning point came on the hour mark when Matty Scott was sin-binned for a dangerous tackle. Bowling took full advantage, Aidan Scully and Hayden Spence crossing in quick succession, and Harry Williams converting the second to put the visitors in front. There was no way back for Hunslet, and Scully sealed the win with his second try in the dying moments. Dining? Come dining on Rugby League, yeah. The dying moments, and Williams added his third goal to complete the scoring. West Bowling are now 2 from 2, having also beaten Leigh Miners Rangers, and could well be title contenders this year. Loose forward Oliver Bartle was a standout performer, leading the charge in both attack and defence. So just to run through those scorers, for Hunslet, Luke Medley, Liam Thompson and Cameron Phillips scored the tries. Luke Medley kicked all 3 goals. For West Bowling, there were tries from Harry Williams, Logan Simpson, Aidan Scully with 2 and Hayden Spence. Harry Williams also adding 3 goals.
Yeah, also in the Premier Division, it was a match between 2 of the promoted teams. Leigh Miners Rangers 10, Waterhead Warriors 30. And Waterhead Warriors made it 2 wins from 2, storming into a 20 points to 0 lead inside 23 minutes, with early tries from Dodd, Brennan, Robinson and Holland. Leigh Miners responded before the break with a Jack Amer try converted by Johnny Youds, but the visitors wrapped up the win by the hour mark. Dodd completed his brace, and Marcus Geener also going over, with Brennan landing 3 goals in the total. And the scorers there for Waterhead Warriors were tries from Harrison, 2 from Dodd, Keegan Brennan, Adam Robinson, Matty Holland, Marcus Geener, and Keegan Brennan kicking 3 goals. And there was a solitary try, and tries from Jack Amer and a goal from Johnny Youds.
Yeah, so West Hull 12, York Acorn 4. And York Acorn, they had the upper hand in the first half, leading 4 points to 0 at the break, thanks to a Shay Norton try. But the game turned when Nathan Conroy was sin-binned for a swinging arm early in the second half. West Hull capitalised immediately, with Danny Nicholas darting over and Jack Townend converting to put them ahead. The score stayed 6 points to 4 right until the final minute, when Josh Oliver crashed through for the decisive try. Townend added his second goal, and even a late yellow card for Dylan Norrie couldn't stop the green and golds from sealing that big win. So West Hull try scorers, courtesy of Danny Nicholas and Josh Oliver, 2 goals from the boot of Jack Townend, and for York Acorn there was just that solitary try from Shay Norton.
Yeah, I've got to say though, Parky, that probably is early doors, probably one of the sort of top matches so far, because they've both been very good, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and both of them with new coaches on the board as well this time around.
Interesting. Over at Rochdale Mayfield, they were taking on Wasbrow Hornets, and it was Rochdale Mayfield 48, Wasbrow Hornets 12, and at half-time, this was a tight contest, with Rochdale leading 14 points to 12 after first-half tries from Higgs, Metcalf, Wright, and while Connor Mullinew and Morgan McCourt crossed for Wasbrow, both converted by Sam Kerwin. But in the second half was all one-way traffic, as Dean Connolly, Jaden Day, Jack Wright for his second, Max Rism, Cole Connolly and Connor Ratcliffe ran riot. Cole Connolly also kicked 6 goals as Mayfield put last week's defeat behind them in emphatic style. And the scorers there were Rochdale Mayfield, Ewan Higgs, Ben Metcalf, 2 for Jack Wright, Dean Connolly, Jaden Day, Max Risman, Cole Connolly and Connor Ratcliffe, and as we said, Cole Connolly with 6 goals. For Wasbrow, scorers were tries Connor Mullinew and Morgan McCourt, and Sam Kerwin taking 2.
Over at Lock Lane defeated promoted Dewsbury Moor by 22 points to 10, and at the break it was all square, 10 each, with Lewis Price and Tom Sowerby scoring for Lock Lane, while Dewsbury Moor responded through Greg Colbridge, who also added the conversion to his own try, and Will Clarkson. The second half saw Leighton Davis go over just after the restart before Nathan Fozzard extended the lead with a conversion and a penalty. Kieran Purdy's 66th minute try sealed the win, giving Lock Lane their first win of the season. So the scorers there were Lewis Price, Tom Sowerby, Leighton Davis and Kieran Purdy for Lock Lane. Kicking the goals was Nathan Fozzard. He kicked 2 goals and a penalty. For Dewsbury Moor Maroons, it was Greg Colbridge and Will Clarkson with the tries. Colbridge with 1 goal. That's the latest from the Premier Division. Waterhead Warriors and West Bowling leading the early charge, but plenty more action to come in the weeks ahead.
Moving on to the Division 1, which saw Oldham St Anne's up against Shawcross Sharks, and it was Oldham St Anne's 22, Shawcross Sharks 34. Shawcross Sharks got the season off to a flying start with a dominant opening spell, racing into a 24 points to 0 lead inside the first half hour. Through tries from Barker, Walkinshaw, Wright and Stevenson, also all converted by Stevenson. Oldham St Anne's, though, fought back with tries from Matt Whitehead and Callum Cashin, both crashing over before the break, with Lewis Ollidge converting both to cut the deficit to 24 points to 12. Despite an early second half try from Alex Baines, Oldham pushed hard and got within 8 points thanks to further scores from Niall Collins and Josh Tyndale. Ollidge added his third goal, but any hopes of a late comeback were dashed when Brad Baines crossed 10 minutes from time, securing the victory for the visitors.
Over at Egremont, it was Egremont Rangers 12, Wigan St Jude's 34. St Jude's making an ideal start to life in Division 1, overpowering the relegated Rangers with the 34-12 win on the road. The visitors were 10-0 up inside the first 7 minutes, thanks to tries from our Connor, Parkinson and Joey Brady. Danny Cassidy converted one of those. Egremont responded through Jack Conway, but a Cassidy penalty gave Jude's a 12-4 lead at half-time. Egremont's Fraser McNee reduced the gap to 12-8 early in the second half, but then St Jude's took complete control. Cassidy, Brady and Adam Lavin all crossed to make it 28 points to 8, helped by Quinn Wright's Simbin for the hosts. Lavin's second try sealed the win before Tom Horton and Rhys Matthews exchanged late scores. So 34 points to 12 there in favour of Wigan St Jude's. Egremont tries going the way of Jack Conway, Fraser McNee and Rhys Matthews. No goals kicked at all there. And for Wigan St Jude's, it was Connor Parkinson, Joey Brady, Danny Cassidy, 2 from Adam Lavin and 1 from Tom Horton. 3 goals from the boot of Danny Cassidy, 4 in total, because he also added that penalty, if you remember.
That's a big win, that, Parky, isn't it?
Massive.
It's a real statement when that. Moving on, Eworth, they were up against Oulton Raiders. It was Eworth 30, Oulton Raiders 24. Eworth picked up their first win of the season with a well-earned victory over Oulton Raiders, taking control with a 3-try blitz early in the second half. The game was all square at 12-all at the break, with Oldsworth and Walpole scoring for Oulton, while Briggs and Elliott replied for Eworth. But the home side then pulled away, Jack Sadler, Liam Jackson and Liam Richmond all going over before the 53rd minute, with Danny Allen converting all 3. Oulton rallied late on in through Watson and Stillwell, with Perkins adding the extras. But between those scores, Eworth grabbed a vital try from Adam Dent to ensure the win. And the scorers for Eworth were tries for Jack Sadler, Liam Jackson, Liam Richmond, Adam Dent, Harrison Briggs and George Elliott, with Danny Allen adding 5 goals. For Oulton Raiders, it was Adrian Holsworth, Kieran Walpole, Kean Watson Ashley Stillwell and Perkins adding 3 goals.
A couple of things from that match, Steve, which I'm delighted at, to be honest. So, if you remember, this time last year we spoke with Adrian Holdsworth. I did a long chat with him over at Crossfields, and he was like saying how, like he's getting towards the back end of his career, and it's all about him enjoying his rugby league, even more. So I'm delighted that he's back out on the pitch again, scoring tries. I mean, he's one of the top strike centres that is in Division 1 of the National Conference League.
Close game, that.
Close game. Yeah. And the other thing that I was going to say is that, Heworth, they have lost quite a few players in the close season. Unlike others who have been very vocal and sort of said about what players they've lost and where they've gone to, Heworth have lost about 4 or 5 players to the semi-professional game. I think 3 of them have ended up at Gould Vikings, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
So it just shows that despite taking those players out of the equation, they're still going to be very, very competitive this year.
Yeah,
and
so.
But as you said, a really close game, a big win that for a first one for Heworth. Over at Stanley, it was Stanley 26, Kells 16. Relegated Kells led for most of the game at Stanley, but were overhauled in the final 20 minutes as the lead side snatched a dramatic win. Kells had led 16 points to 8 on the hour, thanks to tries from Burns, Ainley and Syce, 2 of which were converted by Ross Gameford. But Stanley turned the game around in the closing stages, as Alfie Beech, Harris Davidson and Dean Parker all went over, Parker converting all 3 of those tries to secure the win. So, reminder, Stanley 26, Kells 16. The Stanley scorers were Alfie Beech, Harris Davidson, Dean Parker, Adam Butterill, who is also one of the top performing players in the National Conference League, very dangerous runner, and Alex Ryan scoring tries, Dean Parker adding 3 goals in total. For Kells, it was Aaron Burns, who's a guy who's on dual registration from Whitehaven, Jack Ainley and Ashton Syce, and Syce was really highly rated in his earlier playing career. So again, I think he's one definitely to look out for over the course of the season as we start to read these reports a little bit more regular. And Ross Gameford, we've mentioned him for the last couple of years, haven't we? He's definitely got an eye for a goal and kicked 2 on the day.
Yeah, over at Crossfields, they welcomed Ince Rose Bridge, and possibly may have not been the best day for them, because it was Crossfields 6, Ince Rose Bridge 46. Ince Rose Bridge dominated from start to finish, running in 9 tries to secure this massive victory over at Crossfields. Callum Hughes grabbed a hat-trick before half-time, with Rhys Cunningham also crossing, while Brad Stanley's converted try was the only bright moment for Crossfield. The second half was one-way traffic as Rogers, Shaw, Butler and Malone twice added to the visitors' tally, with Eccleston landing 5 conversions. So the scorers there, firstly for Crossfields, was tries from Stanway, which was converted by himself. Ince Rose Bridge scorers, hat-trick for Callum Hughes, Rhys Cunningham, Callum Rogers, Casey Shaw, Brodie Butler and 2 from Jamie Malone, with 5 goals from Kieran Eccleston.
Again, a couple of things on this game, to be honest, and that's great to see Kieran Eccleston get that. He was another one who actually told me at the end of last season he's packing in and he wasn't going to be coming back, but yeah, there he is, kicking 5 goals. Callum Hughes, we've already seen him this season, haven't we, in the Challenge Cup game?
That's right, yeah.
And he's such a tall winger that it doesn't surprise me.
Stands out a mile, doesn't he?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he crossed for a hat-trick, and that's probably one of the standout individual performances of the week. But some of these other names as well are guys that we have commentated on, aren't they? So Calum Rogers, adept at both centre and second row. Casey Shaw was one of that back row, which went really, really well when they played against Blackbrook. And Brodie Butler, he's played for the Navy as well. So, these are guys that we have spoken about.
That's right, yeah.
On this show, so it's great to see them fully in the mix as well. I suppose less said about Crossfields as an opener, the better in that.
I'm sure they'll brush one under the table. It's still early days yet, isn't it? Right, we're moving on into Division 2.
Okay, so we're going to continue our look around the National Conference League. We're in Division 2 now, and Dewsbury Celtic, they came out from under wraps in their season opener, making the long trip up to face one of the division's new boys in Hensingham. And they came away with a well-earned 20-6 victory. Jordan Hurst led the charge for Celtic, crossing for a try and adding 2 successful goal kicks. Further scores came the way of Dane Windrow, Tom Bottomley and Josh Frayne, ensuring a strong attacking display. Hensingham, despite being 14-6 behind at half-time, put in a determined defensive effort in the second half, limiting Celtic to just 1 additional try. However, they were unable to build on their first half points, which came courtesy of a Dion Crow try converted by Dylan Bragg. OK, so those are a few words about the game, but I thought, who better can we speak to find out about what actually happened, and give us a little bit of context. So on the other end of the line, I have Dewsbury Celtic head coach Scott Dyson. How are you doing, Scott? You all right, mate?
Yes, very good, thank you, Dave.
It's been a little while, hasn't it, since we last spoke. I'll come to that a little bit later on, but I just want to ask you about this game, So, I mean, Hensingham is one of the massive trips, isn't it, that you've got in your division this season?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Anybody who's ever been up there knows it's a long day. Sometimes that can be part of the battle, not just on the field. It's obviously the travel up there, the logistics of it all, getting the players away from work and timing it all right, so you're not there too early or not there too late. So it's a challenge in itself, but obviously one that we're happy we came away this weekend with the win.
So realistic. Just give us a little bit of a feeling. What sort of time do you have to set off from your place to get up to Hensingham?
We did it a little bit different this time. So we set off at 8:30, but we stopped off just off Scotch Corner. We'd organised to have a sectioned off team feed. We were pre-med for us, so we had like an hour slot, but we did it so that we were breaking it up. The guys could get off the bus, stretch their legs, take on some decent food, so that it wasn't just a run in and grab some food from a Greggs or something like that. We were organised that the guys were all prepped up and knew what they were having. Then we headed up and got sort of twins in sort of 1 o'clock, an hour and a half for kick-off. So the timing worked nicely. With no sort of issues with traffic or anything like that. But like I said, we sort of looked at this and earmarked it as one of his first challenges, and getting the logistics right was a major part of it.
I mean, it sounds like it's almost like a military operation to get something like that sorted out, isn't it? Particularly when, as we talk about in community rugby, everybody's usually pulled from pillar to post. They've got their own home lives to deal with. They've got, like everything of the work lives to deal with, and also, arranging stuff around the rugby club as well.
Yeah, it's a big ask. The lads are away from the family and work for a full day. So obviously we tried to make it as enjoyable so that, the trip up, it wasn't a 3-hour continuous journey. We were able to get them off the bus and let them have a little bit of social time and take on some decent food. And then when we got up there, the one raced around. So we tried to manage it, but make it as enjoyable as possible. And then obviously ultimately coming away with the win makes it even more enjoyable on the way back down.
Of course, these are the important times, aren't they? Because over the course of a season, especially in National Conference League, you spend a lot of time together with your teammates, don't you? There's a lot of travelling involved, particularly in your division this year. And, so you're always looking for those little 1%ers, if you like.
100%. Like I think that you look at these journeys and, there's a massive cost to a club, to pay for the coach. So that's got to be sort of looked at with sponsorship and so on. But I think what we try to do is sort of earmark these journeys and sort of say to people, it is a full day, so let's make it worthwhile. Let's enjoy the trip. Let's all buy in. Let's all be part of what we're doing on this day. The fixtures are out early enough so people can preempt it, getting time off work or getting care for kids or whatever it may be. But like I say, it were well thought of, well in advance, like probably most clubs do. But we just tried to get it that it were quite relaxed and not seeing as sort of a stumbling block, more of a just part of what we do this season. And we've got another 2 to do.
Now, Hensingham were one of the best sides in Division 3 last season. They sort of swept through and really got promoted on the crest of a wave. I know they've lost a couple of players to the pro game, as to be honest, most of those clubs in Cumbria have, to be fair. But how did you find them? How did you rate them, coming up against them?
Tough team. We knew, obviously, that, success is sort of a wave, and they'd had a good year last year. They'd had a good win the week before over at Old Dockers. So we knew that the tails would be up, and it were about facing that challenge. I knew a little bit about them from a bit of research we'd done and speak to a few people. So we knew what we were going to face. They're a big physical team. You know, the pitch is quite tight. It's quite caged in, you know, with the fans on top of you. So, you know, the challenge was us to sort of as a team face that. But regards to Hensingham, I spoke to the coach afterwards and a couple of the club's officials, and they're going to have a good year. You know, they're going to win more than they lose. And I think that, like I said, we just had a good day, and I think that the little bit of work we'd done before with the journey and as research back then as a team got us the win.
Also as well, I mean, you must be happy. That defence as well, I mean, to only concede 6 points up in Cumbria when like you're faced with all those challenges that you talked about before.
Yeah, no, it was a massive day for us defensively. To add context to that, we sort of had 8 sets sort of in the last 5 minutes on our own line. So, you know, the boys have got to take massive raps for the effort and the will to work for each other and the desire they put in. Like you said yourself, 6 points is good no matter where you are. But when you've had a 3.5 hour journey up the road against a big physical team, you know, I had big admiration for the team. I let them know that afterwards. But I was really impressed with how they stuck together, stuck to the task, and defended for each other. And
you said there, I mean, 8 sets in the last sort of few minutes. I mean, it would have been easy enough for everybody to go, you know what, we've actually done enough in this game and to concede one, but it shows great pride in the shirt, that, doesn't it?
100%. And you know, the Celtic boys are a close-knit group. They drink together, they go out together. So it's sort of like making sure that steps onto the field. That's one of the challenges I've put across to the guys this year, that, you know, we've got to do that throughout the season on the field, you know, make sure we work for each other, we're tight, and it showed in defence. You know, when we were defending him and we defended it and we got the final whistle and they got over the line, it was sort of celebrated more than what a try was. The lads were jumping round and just looking at it and understanding the feat they'd done. Where, you know, that many sort of tackles on your own line is some feat to do.
Now, I know I'm always conscious that whenever we do sort of one of these roundups, to be fair, Scott, we only mention like the scorers. So this is why it's really good to get that context of how good the team was as a whole, you know, to sort of like restrict Hensingham to just the 6 points. So we've mentioned there about Jordan Hurst, Dane Winrow, Tom Bottomley, Josh Frayne. Who were in your eyes then, maybe from a defensive point of view, who I've not mentioned, did a really, really good job?
Well, you know, Billy Yarrow took the man of the match on the day. He's our hooker. His defence was outstanding. He didn't take a back step all day long. Got us going forward on the front foot. I think that Callum Wilkins, Dane Winrow, and then Joe out in the second row all had tough stints. But to be fair, that's probably been unfair on everybody, because it's one of them games where everybody chipped in. And if you'd have seen the game, you know, Billy, probably edged it as man of the match, but I think you'd have said on that day that it was very, very hard and very tight because of the work they all put in to actually pull anybody out on the day.
Over the last couple of years, I mean, Celtic's been pretty close, haven't they? You know, they've done really well. They've got in the playoffs. I suppose as well, over the last couple of years as well, there's also been some really outstanding teams that have stood out a mile in that division, hasn't there? This year it kind of feels like there's not really going to be someone that runs away with it. Okay, East Leeds seem to have recruited well and they've come up with, you know, 2 tough wins at the start of the season, but it's still early days and it just feels like everybody can beat everybody.
100%. I totally agree with that. I think that it's a challenge for whoever turns up on the day, and that's the sort of mindset we've got. That's why we're taking it 1 week at a time. We're not looking at any other results really apart from our own, because you never know. You know, it does change at times with people who work commitments, holidays and such. But I think you're right. I think anybody can beat anybody on the day, and I think that's why you can't ever let your guard down. You've got to be turning up with your best 17, with your best mindset, with a will and desire to give everything for that full 80 minutes. And I think if you don't, I think you're in that sort of chance and opportunity for someone to turn you over. Then that's the challenge I've got for my boys, that, you know, we don't allow that to happen. We turn up ready to go, because, like I say, it's a very strong league and it's a very, very tough one to get out of obviously Celtic have found for the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah,
I always think Divisions 1 and 2 are probably the most interesting of the National Conference League divisions, because you have half a league turnover, don't you, every year, where 3 teams go out. 3 teams come in, or at either end, I suppose.
It is. You're right, and like I say, then you've got the people wanting to get straight back up again, and people who are coming on a roll who've had a good year the year before. So it's a very competitive league, and with the the bit we touched on there with the travel as well, it keeps you on your toes. I don't think you can ever sit there and say there's an easy game, because with our league, you've got some local derbies as well. You've got Driglington, we've got Thornhill, we've got East Leeds, so they're going to add a little bit of spice as well as the ones where we're travelling away. So it's there's no easy game this year at all. I
tell you what, there's some lip-licking ties to come, isn't there, I suppose, when you look at that. I'm thinking as well from a local interest point of view.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, what's Thornhill will be 2 or 3 miles away. Driglington will be 4 or 5 miles away. So straight away there, you've got plenty of people who know each other, and the sides of the fields will be full and quite loud, I can imagine. And then East Leeds, obviously, they're doing well, so it's never an easy place to go in East Leeds. So I think that, like I say, with it being again another local place, we'll have big crowds and hopefully good days there.
And certainly on my visits to Crow's Nest Park over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, when I've been doing this with National Conference League, similarly, your touchlines are always, pretty well packed, aren't they?
Yeah, it's always been a very, very well followed club. It's a very historic club, one of the oldest, I think, in rugby, to be fair. I know there's a lot of claims for that, but it's up there with one of them. And like I say, it helps because they've got a full youth structure coming all the way through, so the parents and the kids all come up and watch the open age, and it's like I say, it can be great. There's a lot of, obviously, pressure at times from them groups of people stood behind you, but I think that, ultimately it's great to have a big loud crowd behind you and making it as hostile as we can, really, for everybody who enters the park.
I always feel that as a Lancastrian, I've almost got to explain it, because over this side of the Pennines, it seems to be Sundays that are our main day for junior rugby, but of course over on your side of the Pennines it's Saturday, isn't it? So you're right, so you get a couple of those teams that are at home and the different age groups, and suddenly you've got 150, 175 people already there, haven't you?
100%, yeah. Like I said, because there's so many games now with so many youth teams, you've got to break it up, and we have quite a few on a Saturday morning, obviously Sundays. But I think that the kids want to watch the open age. They want to see the lads. They all know each of them by name and they ask about them, and so we try and integrate that and have it aligned where the open age is the top of the pyramid, but all the way down the lads are looking at the kids and bring them to watch. So it helps that they all come and watch the game as well. They all come and watch the open age play.
So, got to ask you about your next, perhaps, couple of games coming up, starting with, this next weekend. Pilks, what are you expecting from them?
Pilks, they've been unlucky, haven't they? I think they've been close in the last game. Obviously, East Leeds was a tough place to go. Again, they've got some size about them, some pace out wide, so we're expecting a very, very tough challenge. They're going to come one in the win, the one in the first scalp. So obviously that's going to put a bit of extra motivation in them. The last game, I think it was 8 points to Normanton. They just lost by, so they're scoring points. So that's obviously a fear for us. We pride ourselves as defence, so we've got a team that's one smarting for the first win, but secondly know how to get off the line as well. So we've got to turn up ready to do a job.
Once again, it's one of those fixtures that sort of really whets the appetite, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, I'm glad we're at home meeting them so early on, because I'm not a fan of the 3G pitches that they play on, and I know them guys know how to play that very well, but it's a very equal. They were in that league last year, so they know about us and we know about them, which sometimes also sometimes don't. But I think that I watched a couple of clips on them when they played against Normanton this week, and like I said, they are a big physical team. They like to get a good go forward. And they've got some pace out wide. I think I saw one at Wingers do a sort of 60-70 yard try on a kick return. So we've got to be aware that they've got sort of ammunition everywhere, and we've got to be on our toes, because they're going to come and want to do a job on us.
You mentioned earlier as well about the commitment levels that are required, I suppose, for National Conference League, Rugby League, and the fact that as well with the different work commitments and different life patterns, I suppose, that we've got these days. You can't just rely on having 20 lads, which you used to in the past, can you? You've got to have bigger squads. So have you got any players that are missing this week and players that are going to come in?
No, we've got a bit of a reverse to be fair, Dave. We've got a squad running about 26, 27 players, which is healthy, but obviously gives me a bit of an headache. So what we do is we have a couple of lads that work away for the week, so we train Friday night just to sort of have a bit of work all together. So we've not got many missing. If I'm being honest, I think we've got one who's banned, which is Paul Fulston, which followed on from last year. But other than that, we've got a full squad. So it's a bit of an headache. But like I said, the pleasing thing for me is it puts competition between us all. People have got to train, got to commit, got to put the full effort in on a game day. So it's probably more of not who's missing. It's more a case of who's going to drop in and who deserves that spot for Saturday.
So you're selecting from a position of strength, really, aren't you? Rather than thinking, he's got to be missing. Like sometimes, as amateur coaches, you've got that thought, haven't you? When somebody drops you a text on a Saturday morning saying I can't make it, or somebody drops you a text on a Friday night.
Definitely, we've approached that as a group. We've said obviously about commitment levels and holidays within the season and stuff like that. We know they all have them, but they've all put them in the diary, so we know when people are away. Obviously, you don't book an holiday now for next week, do you? So we've challenged the guys and we've made them, take responsibility for when they are away. So this week, with it being early, no school holidays or anything like that, we've got a full sort of squad to pick from, barring one. So it's just that I think we're trying to put a responsibility and a bit of respect that there is 26 lads. So you've got to earn your shirt, you've got to train, you've got to let us be honest with each other, and we've got it now. We've got sort of a good balance with sort of 20, 24, 25 lads training every single week.
And you mentioned about going, only looking maybe 1 week at a time, but I suppose from a coaching point of view, you tend to look at you break your season up, don't you? So how have you done that with yourselves? Has it been sort of like picking the first couple of games and sort of seeing where you are at that point?
First three, we had a couple of friendlies, so what we did was we sort of earmarked the friendlies as building blocks, and then those first three league games, because of how we'd structured as pre-season, that worked for us. So obviously we've got Pilkington this week, which we spoke about, but then the week after we've got Old Dockers away over there. Now I know they're doing it tough, but they're still scoring points, as they've scored some points this weekend against Thornhill. They're letting a few in, but that for me will probably build resilience with them. So when we go over there, we'll be expecting a very tough game and a very sort of hostile environment, as most Hull teams are. So we're not taking them lightly at all, and probably the reverse of giving them utmost respect, knowing that they'll be vying for that sort of win. And then 3 games there, that's when we were going to look at it as a team and look at the changes and the patterns that they were playing, making sure they work. And then after that, sort of address the next 3 games and address it and change things accordingly.
I certainly wish you well, Scott, but just before I let you go, I did hint right at the start that we spoke a couple of years ago, didn't we, over when you was at Ossett. How long have you now been at Dewsbury Celtic for, and are you enjoying it?
First off, yes, massively enjoying it. So my history is I'm actually a Dewsbury West Town lad. I grew up 50 yards away from the clubhouse and played there as a junior. I started the job in November. Obviously, Mark, who was the head coach last year, we've been lifelong friends and kept in touch. And Mark is now my assistant. He's helping me out and helping me keep things going. So it's early doors. I know a lot of people around the club. I know the sort of the building now is the relationship between me and the players. But I've got a lot of good friends at this place. I've got a lot of memories from being a young kid. My family's always been around the club. So a bit of a homecoming, really. If I'm being honest, it were hard to leave Ossett. I've made a lot of good friends there. But ultimately, it were time for me to move on and them to hear a different voice and me to face a different challenge.
And it sounds like it's something that suits everybody at this moment in time. Like you say, you've got that bit between your teeth because you're at your boyhood club, and well, it's been a positive start to the season, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I can't complain. I think that the lads have bought in. Obviously, having his first win in the league obviously helps. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge that I'm relishing and looking forward to and enjoying. I think anybody who's coached a team knows how hard it is and knows the ups and downs you have. So you've got to enjoy the wins when they come along and understand that there will be ups and downs. But at this moment in time, it's all going good. The lads are on board. The club's in a good place, and I'm enjoying going training. I'm enjoying being around the group. I'm enjoying games, and it's a good feeling to have as a coach, because trust me, it can be a lot different if things aren't going your way.
13 Pro-Am Community Rugby League Show. We talk because we care.
Fantastic hearing from Scott Dyson there, and how he's back at his boyhood club and leading them into the future.
Yeah, really interesting guy, isn't he? I mean, it speaks well, and obviously you can tell he's more than happy with how things are developing there at Dewsbury.
Yeah, we spoke to him a few years ago, actually, when he was at Ossett.
Yeah.
This was sort of, again, almost going back to just the initial post-COVID times, as things were starting to pick up again.
Yeah. Ossett Trinity Tigers, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's also good to hear him challenging himself at another level of rugby league as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a similar sort of thing as we talk about players stepping up to the NCL. It's from a coach's point of view as well. It's like, you want to test yourself against bigger and better and more experienced players and coaches.
Definitely.
Right, staying with Division 2 and continuing the roundup, we've got Skirler. They were up against East Leeds, and it was Skirler 12, East Leeds 18. Reigning Division 3 champions East Leeds continued their impressive start with a hard-fought 18-12 win at Skirler, who remained winless after 2 rounds. East Leeds flew out of the blocks, going 12-0 up inside 10 minutes with tries from Jack Normington and Owen Hughes, both converted by Luke Littlewood. John Gay pulled one back for Skirler just before the half hour, with Keelan Gregg adding the extras. But George Clark's try and another Littlewood goal kept East in control at the break. A Josh Atkinson try early in the second half, improved by Gregg, gave Skirler hope, but despite Hughes being sin-binned, East held firm to claim the win. So the tries there from Skirler, they were John Gay and Josh Atkinson, with Keelan Gregg getting 2 goals, and the scorers for East Leeds, Jake Normington, Owen Hughes, George Clark and Luke Littlewood getting 3 goals.
Over at Pilkington Rex, Normanton made it 2 wins from 2, and they held off a determined Pilk side who had a hat-trick from Aidan Jones. Jones' first 2 scores had given Pilks an early 10-4 lead, but Normanton responded well, going 16-10 up at the break, thanks to tries from Alex Barker and Joe Crossland, both of which were converted by Jacob Crossland. Jones completed his hat-trick early in the second half to close the gap to 2 points, but Normanton pulled away, with Caleb Robinson and Barker scoring again. Crossland converted both. A late Tom Connick try and goal wasn't enough for the home side, as Normanton secured the victory. So, Pilks Rex scores, again they came from Aidan Jones with 3 and Tom Connick, and the Connick added 1 goal. I think that should be 2 goals actually, but I think as I'm starting to add those up. Normanton Knights, they had tries from Adam Biscombe, Alex Barker grabbing 2, Joe Crossland and Caleb Robinson, with 3 goals from the boot of Jacob Crossland, who it looks like he added a couple of penalties as well in there.
Right, Clotface Miners travelled over to Ellenborough Rangers, and it was Ellenborough Rangers 6, Clotface Miners 20. Clotface Miners maintained a 100% start to the season, producing a solid defensive display to win 20 points to 6 at Ellenborough Rangers. 2 early tries from Luke Layden and Josh Morgan, 1 converted by Lewis Gerriter, put the visitors 10-0 up inside 7 minutes. Ellenborough responded through Zach Olstrom, converted by Brett Stevenson, to make it at 10-6 at half-time. But Clotface took control in the second half. Conor McCartan's try on the hour, improved by Gerrity, stretched the lead, and Layden's second try in the final minute sealed the victory. Scorers there for Ellenborough, tries from Zach Elstrom and goal by Brett Stevenson. Clotface Miners scorers, 2 for Luke Layden, Josh Morgan, Conor McCartan, and goals 2 from Lewis Gerrity.
One of the highest scoring games of the season so far came up at Barrow Island, where it was 48-20 to Barrow Island over Driglington, and they ran riot early on, storming into a 24-0 lead inside the first 10 minutes, and they never looked back in the big win over Driglington. Aidy Wright starred with the first half hat-trick, with Brandon Corrie and Jack Sutherland also crossing. Sam Jones added 4 goals as the home side led 28 points to 6 at the break, Driglington replying through Adam Griffiths and a Kieran Bolton goal. Bolton added a second try before half-time, but Barrow Island dominated the second half again, adding 4 more scores through Jones, Cam Curry, Finn Dutton-Rosconi and Will Scott, and Jones added 2 more goals to complete his 6-goal haul. Bolton grabbed a late consolation try, but it was all Barrow Island in a commanding display. So the scorers there for Barrow Island: Aidy Wright grabbed 3 tries, Brandon Corrie, Jack Sutherland, Sam Jones, Cam Curry, Finn Dutton-Rosconi and Will Scott all scored 1 each, with Sam Jones adding 6 goals. For Driglington, Adam Griffiths scoring 1 try, Kieran Bolton adding 2. Bolton also on the score sheet with a couple of goals too.
Meanwhile, Thornhill Trojans welcomed Old Dockers, and it was Thornhill Trojans 42, Old Dockers 22. Thornhill Trojans marked their season opener in style, overpowering Old Dockers 42-22, with Sam Ratcliffe leading the charge with 3 tries and 7 goals. New signing Rhys Nicholson got the first try of the game before Wes Brown helped himself to a double. Old Dockers stayed in the contest with tries from Dave Braid 2, Jack Smith and Lewis L, but they never led, and Burley Lee's try and Ratcliffe's flawless kicking display ensured a strong start to the season for Thornhill. That's Division 2 roundup, with East Leeds, Normanton Knights, Clotface Miners all making it 2 wins from 2, while Barrow Island and Thornhill Trojans also got off the mark in style.
Division 3 saw just the 1 game, and what a chance these 2 sides had to get that season underway. So Myton Warriors 24, Beverley 14, and in the only Division 3 fixture ahead of next week's full launch, Myton Warriors, they claimed their victory in a competitive local derby. Beverley took an early lead through Ben Clark's 8th minute try, but the visitors were soon reduced to 12 men as Bobby Howland saw yellow for a high tackle. Myton capitalised with Alfie Wall opening his account, converted by Tyler Fisher. A Josh Poskett try and conversion briefly put Beverley back ahead, but Wall struck again before the break, with Jack Sanderson this time adding the extras to give Myton a 12-10 half-time lead. Wall then completed his hat-trick as the game entered the final quarter, but Beverley stayed in touch when Alec Hardy crossed to cut the deficit to 16-14. John O'Douglas then added a late try in the 70th minute, converted by Sanderson, and it proved crucial with a late penalty from Sanderson, ensuring Myton's win in the Division 3 curtain raiser. So a reminder there that the Beverley tries came courtesy of Ben Clark, Josh Poskett and Alec Hardy. 1 goal from the boot of Josh Poskett, and then the Myton Warriors, a hat-trick of scores for Alfie Wall, John O'Douglas going over for the other try, with goals split between Tyler Fisher with 1 and Jack Sanderson with 2 goals and a penalty in that 24-14 win. Good start that to the new season in Division 3 for me.
Yeah, very much so. I've got to say, obviously the others all joining this next week. Is it?
Yeah, we get the full launch over this weekend, which brings us nicely onto what the fixtures look like this coming weekend. So Premier Division, Hunslet at home to Thatto Heath Crusaders. Leigh Miners Rangers with another home game, this time against Dewsbury Maroons. So in the first 3 weeks of the season, they'll have played 2 of their fellow promoted sides for Leigh Miners Rangers. Wafbrow Hornets, meanwhile, host Siddle, and I'm interested to see whether Wafbrow are able to bounce back from the big defeat against Rochdale Mayfield. That
be a tough one, that one.
Will be tough, but they've got a home advantage. I think that counts for a lot, to be honest. West Bowling will be looking to continue their impressive start at home against Rochdale Mayfield. West Hull take on Lot Lane. That is a standout fixture as well for mine. I don't know about anything else there. And York Acorn, meanwhile, they'll host Waterhead Warriors.
Another standout fixture, the way those two are starting off this season so far. In Division 1, it's Ince Rose Bridge. They welcome Newworth. Meanwhile, Egremont Rangers travel to Kells, not very far, a local derby there.
It's good when we can mention about the Cumbrian local derbies as well, isn't it? Because they do have them.
Shawcross Sharks, they welcome Crossfields, whilst Wigan St Jude's welcome Stanningley, and Woolston Rovers, they're at home to Oldham St Anne's.
And then in Division 2, we've got Clotface Miners at home against Driglington, promoted Driglington, of course. Dewsbury Celtic, as we heard Scott Dyson talking about before, hosting Pilkington Rex. East Leeds at home to Normanton Knights. That could be a clash for the ages, couldn't it? Hensingham, they're at home against Barrow Island, another sort of Cumbrian derby of sorts, even though there's probably about 30 miles between the two. Hull Dockers are hosting Ellenborough Rangers, and Thornhill Trojans, they're up against Skirler.
And in Division 3, Dissington welcome Mighton Warriors, whilst Lees travel over to Featherstone Lions. Millham, they welcome Milford. Saddleworth Rangers, and they're up against Beverley. And it's an opening fixture, if I'm not wrong, Parky. Keighley Albion versus Bentley.
Yeah, they've got a full day of rugby league happening there, so there's about 3 or 4 kids' games in the morning. They're doing shirt presentations to the NCL team at about 12:30, and then the game against Bentley kicks off at 2:30, so that's going to be a really, really good afternoon of fixtures, isn't it?
And it's a good way to celebrate them joining the NCL, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Looking forward to seeing Millham against Milford as well, and Saddleworth Rangers against Beverley. We're hoping that we're able to speak to Saddleworth Rangers' new coach next week. In a similar sort of interview to the one that we did with Scott Dyson. So it's Miles Greenwood who's coach of Saddleworth Rangers this time round, and it's a big job there, but I'm really intrigued to see how that one goes. This leads us nicely onto the game, which we'll be at the weekend.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this, must admit. Love going over a couple of times last season to watch Wigan St Jude's, and we've got the pleasure of going over there again this weekend when we're up against Stanningley. Also, we'll be there covering the game, and we'll be trying to get a chat with obviously how things are going with regards to their having the fence put up around the ground. If you remember at the beginning of this season, we were talking about they'd had the people with, we think it was quad bikes up and down ruining the pitch, and what they've done and their appeal to get funds to help to fence the ground off. So we'll try and get a chat with them about that. But
we've I also again would like to sort of almost compare these two sides, because you've got Wigan St Jude's, who are at this level for the first time.
That's right, yeah.
10 years at least, that they've been in Division 2. They're now, sitting at the table just beneath the Premier Division. Very, very positive start last week against Egremont. That
was a big win.
This time last year they were beating Hunslet with Egremont.
Right,
so let's not forget that they are still, a pretty capable team. With good players.
Yeah. And what we've got to say there, Parky, like we've just said with the Rothbrow game against Sizzle, how it's a difficult place to go. It was very much the same going to Egremont. It's that a full day out to contend with, as well as the game of rugby.
Now there's a couple of players that hopefully they play for Wigan St Jude. This could blow up in my face, by the way, when we come to preview games and you've got yours truly who's putting his neck on the block talking about players who might not even be available at the weekend. But I'm going to stick my neck out. I'm going to say that one of the players that we will be looking at, he's your favourite NCL player.
He is.
Danny Cassidy.
Yeah, really looking forward.
Fresh from a stint playing rugby union for Wigan. And They've also got a couple of lads that have made debuts, which I want to sort of like highlight as one of my social media things of the week as well. So last week they had Kenny Baker and they had Adam Jones who made the debuts. So Kenny is actually a long-term Introse Bridge lad. Right, but has had quite a lengthy professional career now, playing for the likes of, I think he's played for Swinton, he's definitely played for North Wales Crusaders, he's played for Rochdale, and he's played for Widnes as well. So he's done the rounds over the last few years. Fantastic player, great leadership skills. He's not necessarily the captain, but he's just one of those guys where you follow him. He's got a good offload game about him. He's a player that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Adam Jones was the other guy that made a debut, and I'm sure I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna actually see if I can get an interview with Adam, because I'm wondering. I was looking at his picture and I'm thinking I half recognise him, and there was an Adam Jones that played at Huddersfield a few years ago. I'm just wondering.
Could it be one and the same?
Whether it's the one and the same. Yeah. So he's definitely a player that I'm wanting to try and have a chat with. So we'll see whether we can track him down after the game on Saturday. I think also if you look at other players that certainly I've come across through my involvement with the Community Lions programme over the last few years, there's a young back rower called Callum Palmer. Who played for the under-17s about 2 or 3 years ago now. So he's a good lad. And interestingly enough as well, we mentioned Dewey Brady, who is like lightning.
Yeah.
And I've not even mentioned our Connor in the mix either. So looking forward to seeing Wigan St Jude's. And if we talk about from the opposite viewpoint, if we talk about, Stanningley, and I'm just sort of having a look at their team sheet from last week as well, and they've got the likes of Adam Butterill, I think I mentioned him when we were in the middle of the roundup, Dean Parker, experienced player, good in the centres, he can also play a back row as well. Fraser Stroud is an interesting one as well, because he's played University Rugby League. And again, it's one of those names where I'm sure he's played in the pro ranks as well at some point. Luke Townend is a tidy halfback to go alongside him. And then they've got Jermaine Ruan, who, do you remember him playing in that game against Loughborough?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Big forward, destructive runner. It took a lot really for Loughborough to contain him, didn't it, in the game? And then we mentioned about how well Alfie Beech has done as well. So there's quite a few players there that are standing out, and I'm just wondering as well whether Ashton Goulding will be there or whether he'll be required at Huddersfield this year. Well, he will be required at Huddersfield this year, that's for sure, because he's on contract with them.
Yeah.
I know that over the winter they have brought another coach on board as well to maybe, step up when Ashton isn't there because of his Super League commitments in Adam Cunliffe. So I'm really interested to see how the dynamic works. And they're a club that we got on particularly well with when we went over for the Challenge Cup game.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful club. God, I'd say really, really nice. The grounds as well that they've got. And it was great to, obviously we were up in the box there where the scoreboard operator was, and it was a really great, cracking view of the pitch, and they had a really good crowd on there for that game as well.
They did, so I'm hoping quite a few of them are able to come over. Come over to Wigan this weekend, because there's going to be a heck of an atmosphere, isn't there? If that's the case. But yeah, really looking forward to getting over there and sort of getting to report, I suppose, on that game and commentate, because I think we're in for a cracker, to be honest.
Yeah, looking forward to it. As I say, I'm looking forward to watching Mr. Cassidy, because the games that we've watched, he's always pulling something out of the bag and very We talk about paying a nominal fee to go and watch these games. I'm not going to show you if you go and watch Wigan St Jude's and you're paying your money to go and see them. Then tell you, you get your money's worth. You certainly do.
You do certainly get your money's worth. Right. There was one other story that I wanted to do from a social media point of view as well, Steve. And this one, courtesy of Shawcross Sharks. So not only are the Sharks in National Conference League action this week against Crossfields.
They've not lifted your ban, have they?
Well, they have actually, because that's come after the movement of the previous head coach into the professional ranks. I think I'm clear on it. But they're going to be playing a charity game beforehand, so there is a group of lads that are coming together at Shawcross Sharks, pulling the famous Sharks jumper on, and they're going to be up against Silverbacks Rugby League legends. It's all in aid of Prostate Cancer UK. Originally, the club set a goal of making £1,000 for the charity, but now, as it stands on the 15th of March when they posted this, they're close to 5,000 now, and that's even before gift aid, and they're wanting to keep pushing to see what they can. And there's a little bit of a write-up here. It says, if you can donate, no matter how little, please do so on the link which I'm going to give you. If you donate £25, you can sponsor the player of your choice from either team. It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the site that you need is justgiving.com. This could take me forever to actually write that anyway, but it's if you look on justgiving.com for Shawcross Legends v Silverbacks Rugby League Legends for Prostate Cancer, they've actually gone over £5,000 now just looking at this.
Oh, excellent.
So
that's good.
That's
really
good.
Fantastic.
So we wish them all the well.
Yes.
And all the best for this forthcoming weekend on both fronts. And no doubt we'll be having a chance to try and catch up with people at the club to find out how it went.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Because it's great that people, enjoying the game of rugby and raising funds for charity. That's, and then having a couple of beers afterwards, that's okay, isn't it?
I forgot to put our link on, didn't I? I forgot to mention our link. And again, I keep sort of challenging myself with these links which we make on our Mixler page. So if you get the chance, get over to our Mixler page on 13 Pro Am Community RL.mixler.com. If you subscribe and you sign up for it, you'll get a notification as we go live every time that we press our button to go live at whichever game we're at to do the commentary at. But we have got a live link which you can listen to at the weekend. Wigan St Jude's against Stanley, of course, and it is 13 Prime Community RL.mixler.com /events /4129722. It's a right snappy title, that, isn't it? So that's 13 Pro Am Community RL.mixler.com /events /4129722.
Yeah, and if you want to check us out on YouTube, it's 13 Pro Am Community RL. Just type that into YouTube and our page will come up. We've got all the commentaries from our various games that we've been on, and also we've got quite a few videos of games that we've been to. Hopefully we'll try and continue that this weekend with the help of our friends at Wigan St Jude's and see how that goes. But yeah, get on there, have a look at things, have a listen to some of our commentaries and some of Parky's interviews. Absolutely superb.
I've not missed anything out, obviously.
We probably have. We always do somewhere along the round, but that's just the way it is, Dave.
It is. It's always busy in the world of rugby league, particularly in the National Conference League. Once again, it's been a pleasure being alongside you, Steve.
Excellent, Dave, as always.
We'd like to thank all of our guests over the course of the evening. We hope that you have enjoyed the show. We can't wait for the weekend. Is it not Saturday yet, Steve?
Not quite yet, and just before we go, Parker.
Yeah. But he was in and out and twisting and shaking it all about.
Every tackle, every try, every scrum. Green Cooling is proud to be part of the Community Rugby League family.